Hello everyone, and welcome to another Roll for Distraction Developer Showcase, our spin-off series where we play one-shots of TTRPGs, brought to us by their designers. My name is Alex Vigna, and I am joined here today by my good friends Mitchel and Brian. Real quick, before I turn it over to our guest GM, if it's your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button to catch our other actual plays right here on this same channel. We've played lots of different systems, so there's something for everyone. And drop a like and a comment to help out the channel. And now I'd like to welcome today's GM, Alan Tyson from Unicycle Games, to run a one-shot of his game, The Long Road Ahead. Alan, I'll turn it over to you now. Introduce yourself to the people and tell us about the game we're playing today.
Thank you, Alex. First off, seriously, thank you so much for inviting me in, having me on the show. I'm incredibly honored to be able to share this game with you.
Pleasure's all ours. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So as Alex said, the name of the game is The Long Road Ahead, a game of great journeys and great sacrifices. I am the co-designer. I made this game with my best friend, Lex. We wanted to make a game that took everything we loved about epic quest fantasies and road trips and stories about the ways that adventure changes a person and put it into a game. And over the course of about a year and a half, we did just that. The Long Road Ahead has elements of traditional fantasy. We also like to bring in a little bit of horror, even a little bit of science fiction into the setting, but we wanted to make it a game that you could make your own. It doesn't come with any preloaded settings or characters. Part of the game is you make a world, and then you see how you manage to change it as you play. The playbooks that we designed are each archetypes of different fantasy characters. If you squint, you could probably pick out some of your favorites in each of them, but we wanted to make them as broad as possible so that you could make the wanderer that you want to make within them as well.
Yeah, it's great. By the way, beautifully illustrated. You guys are seeing some of the art on your screens right now as well.
Thank you very much.
That's by Alan as well, and the book has this same pixel art style that's very, very nice to look at. Why don't you take it away? Give us. Do we have an opening lore monologue to go through, and then we'll do character intros?
We absolutely do. So for the game that we're going to be playing tonight, we're playing in a setting that is kind of inspired by a mix of Zoroastrian mythology and ethics, of all things. But we gave it our own little spin. So here is the starting world state. 5 years ago, Zahir the Undying rode down from the Tlushan steppe to the north, at the head of an army of horses and siege engines. Obsessed with making his vision of a world empire a reality, Zahir's tactical brilliance and martial prowess allowed him to win every battle in siege except one, and it was that loss that made him a legend. A year ago, an arrow pierced his throat, and that should have been the end for Zahir. But the next day he rose again. The old stories were true, it seemed. A warrior king, chosen by the gods and made exempt from death, would bend the world to his will and sit upon the thrones of heaven and earth, and all who opposed him would fall and be forgotten. You know it wasn't the gods who favored Zahir. It was the thing which the gods have warned humanity of since the dawn of creation. A truth. We all must face death. A lie. You can cheat death. But if a lie becomes spoken often enough and believed deeply enough, it becomes not true, but real. This is the power of the lie, the source of all evil and of all worldly power. The gods did not choose you three. Unlikely coincidence and bloody circumstance saw to that. But in your hands now lies the fate of the free cities of the south. If Zahir the Undying cannot be defeated, then one by one they will fall. The market metropolis of Orma, Ajmar Khan, the city of 10,000 temples, the sevenfold anchorage of Talalabad, the diversity and richness and history they represent will be wiped from the earth, necessary casualties in Zahir's march to the gates of heaven. You alone stand a chance of finding the key to defeating Zahir and the lie that empowers and protects him. Your first step, so say the merchant priests of Ishtartha, goddess of travel, writing, and trade, will be to find her sacred library. Therein lies a text that might begin to unravel the lie and make Zahir vulnerable. The only trouble is, Ishtartha's library was swallowed by the sands of the eastern desert generations ago, and no map can say precisely where it once stood. So let's meet our three wanderers.
Giving Mitchell a run for his money as the voice actor on the show.
Really, they are. Dang. All right, dang.
Man, great job. Jeez.
Coming for your job. So then character intros. One of you guys go first. I'll go last.
All right. This is Brian. Hello, everybody. You know me from Spellbook Gaming. I live here. So my character this time around is Cadell Arthur Mace, also known as Cam. I am a mercenary from a far-off land, and I am playing the loyal soldier. What else should I be giving to the audience?
Do you want to give your character's first impressions?
So basically, just to talk a little bit about what I look like, I've got a 1,000-yard stare. I've been around the block a couple of times for many, many years. I'm very battle-scarred, and I'm wearing utilitarian field gear. And I'm very much so a seasoned veteran. Again, I've been around a while. I go out and do mercenary work, so I've seen things, I've been places, I've done things that I do not wish to talk about too much to anyone that asks, because
I didn't write them.
Maybe deep down I can't forgive myself for some of the things I've done. I keep doing it anyway, so what does it say about me?
Right. We must stop eating, said Toad as he had another, but, for war crimes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Just as a brief explanation for what the first impressions are. So this is actually a component of the character creation process in the long road ahead. When you build a character, you pick an expression, a body, your clothing, and your age. And each playbook comes with 4 pre-selected options. Those are there mostly just if you are stuck for ideas or they're there to prompt. You don't have to go with one of those, but that is kind of how that is the tools we give you to kind of get the creative juices flowing.
Very cool. Mitch, your turn.
Well, let's go ahead and try to earn back my title here. I am Elshadad Tegan. I'm a soft and round man with a bit of a fragile smile, and looking older than I actually am. However, if one looks past the leathery skin and droopy eyes and coily hair, they'll see a man that is wearing ragged robes and protective charms, who is marked by an origin of his own hubris as a magician. He is also known as the Fate Eater, the one who bears the curse, an anchor for the lie. Perhaps what is worse than all that is the sword that he carries, just as cursed as he is.
Spooky.
That was good, man.
Very ASMR, very fun.
I feel like we could pay you for that. Jeez.
Some people do.
I do it for free this time.
Yeah.
And I like doing it.
Thank you.
Very good. So then my character, my class is the one who turned from shadow, ergo, sorry, used to be evil. So my real name, and the one that my companions here will hopefully call me by, is Elias Xenatos. But I am more well-known in the world as Zahir's Shadow. That's right, the man from the monologue used to be my boss. Unfortunately, kind of a mind control thing. Doesn't love to talk about it. And yeah, he's an assassin. My first impressions that he is he keeps sort of a constant grumpy scowl on his face. He's a strong man, but not super beefy. he's in good shape, but he is older as well, much like his loyal soldier, hopefully friend here, who, you know, he's seen a lot as well, though memory foggy as it is, and he's weighed down by guilt that makes him look perhaps even a little older. And he wears dark, you know, as one would as an assassin, wears dark leather armor with a cloak and all that. Has a nice big longbow and other things for killing you if you ask too many questions.
I love it. I love them all. Yeah, thank you all so much for bringing your A game creatively to this.
Oh, of course.
So I am ready to throw you all directly into the adventure, if the three of you are ready.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
You've been wandering the Eastern Desert for the better part of a week now. You have had absolutely no luck finding the library. You had a few good leads when you started out. The merchant priests of Ishtartha gave you some old records, some maps that were reliable enough in the sense that it let you, you know, find old riverbeds and follow the old trade routes, but all of the places on the map that were marked with possible sites of the library proved to be, at best, ruins of something else, and at worst, absolutely nothing. And that was before the sandstorm hit. 30 minutes ago...
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah.
And this whole time you're talking about a buried library in the sand, and all I'm thinking is Avatar.
Yeah.
I don't know the rest of you guys. I played Assassin's Creed Origin. That's what I'm imagining in my head. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was good, too.
Column B.
Listen, I can only consume so much media.
The show's called Roll for Distraction. We will interrupt you. Welcome to the show.
Oh, no worries.
It's all for content. It's okay.
So half an hour ago, the constant wind of the Eastern Desert died down completely. So here's a question, and there is no wrong answer. When I ask these questions, they are very much, you can give any answer you want. Have any of you had business in the Eastern Desert before? Are you familiar with its whims and moods?
I think my character would, but only in his capacity as a mind-controlled assassin. You know, looking for enemy spies or whatever it may be.
Okay. I'm going to say you do remember,
which would
being...
be maybe foggy, yeah.
Yeah, so you remember being out here, but yeah, the memories are either like, they're kind of too painful to touch. They're like very sensitive bruises, so your knowledge of this area is a little bit dimmed.
I feel like for Cam, it would depend. Sorry, I just wanted to... If there are settlements in the desert, then perhaps I was sent on a contract somewhere to one of these settlements to take care of business. That depends on your world building, though. Or if there are settlements, then perhaps.
Yeah, there would definitely be settlements out in the deserts. There's, like, you have to go through the desert to trade with the really rich kingdoms of the East. So there are definitely people who set up shop here. They're kind of like the towns that sprung up along Route 66, or the Silk Road. So there's definitely places where people live. Most of those places have been evacuated now because Zahir's army is moving fast and nobody wants to be caught in the middle of it. But yeah, you probably, that makes sense that you would have been out here before on, business. So I'm gonna say that, Cam, you've been out here when one of these sandstorms hits. They call them bronze blizzards out here. And...
Great band name.
Thank you.
Honestly,
the first sign of trouble is that the wind that is constantly whistling and just like grabbing at, your robes and your hair all the time in the Eastern Desert just stops. And that means you have about 15 minutes to get to cover. The trouble was, when this happened, You are deep out in the eastern dunes, and there is no cover. So you are out in it when the wind picks back up with a vengeance, and if you look to the north, you can just see what looks like a tsunami wave, but instead of water, it is sand and dust and rubble, and it is coming your way. What do you want to do?
Not be here.
You're acting as if something is odd.
Oh, it is. You don't know what's coming for you.
Well, when you say
Is
it like
it
that,
that?
it sounds ominous.
Well, actually, yeah, it is that over there. Yeah, that's exactly what you think it is. Would my character know what to do in this situation, having been around? Or
Yeah, so the best advice if you're caught in a sandstorm is get to like solid rock and shelter behind that. If you can't do that, you have heard stories that some of the nomadic tribes that live in this area, if they see one of these coming, they will actually dig into the sand and like cover themselves with like their robes above them, like just enough to give themselves an air pocket, and just wait it out and hope that they can dig their way back up. But that is, if you don't know exactly how to do it, you'll probably do it wrong, and even then, you know, those people die as often as they survive. So your best chance is to find some kind of solid rock.
Right, so then I think I would hike up to the nearest sand dune to get to the top of it, so I can scope out and look for a rock or something sturdy that we can hide behind.
Okay, so
anything?
Because you are taking in your surroundings and trying to find something useful, that sounds to me like you are trying to seek insight, which is one of the basic moves in the game. So just as a real quick primer on how this works, I know you've played Powered by the Apocalypse games before, so this will be pretty familiar. So the stat that you roll for Seek Insight is Nimble Mind, which in your case is 0, so it'll just be a flat 2d6 roll. And depending on what you roll, you'll get some good information, some useful information, or no information, and something bad will happen. So let's have you make that roll and see how you do first.
I got a 9.
Okay, gotcha. So on a 9, so in the long road ahead, like in a lot of PBTA games, a 7 to 9 is kind of a mixed or an imperfect success, or it's success with a cost. In the case of Seek Insight, you get to hold 1. If you rolled a 10 or higher, you get to hold 2. You could spend a hold to ask the Scrivener, that would be me in this case, a question about your surroundings or situation that begins with who, what, where, when, why, or how. So that can be any question as long as it starts with one of those like basic question words. And you can spend it now or later, but I'm assuming you'll want to spend it now.
Yeah. The who.
Who?
Who is around us? Like, do we see any settlements nearby? Like old abandoned settlements that we could hunker down in?
Actually, yes, you do. There is, you saw it while you were coming out here, but it was kind of small, and it didn't look like it was being actively used right now. So you just kind of, it's a little bit like if you were driving along the highway and you saw like a clearly abandoned gas station, you'd probably just be like, all right, well, that was,
Meh.
nothing I need to worry about. But now, it might be your only chance at survival. It looks like it's maybe a quarter mile away. It is sitting on top of some hard pans, not quite rock, but like, harder surface. And it's not a whole lot more than a stone dome that you've seen these before. You know that the doorway in the dome leads to like an underground like basement kind of area.
Luke Skywalker's house.
Exactly. Yeah, think Tatooine. You're exactly right. And there's a little like enclosure area for people to keep, horses, donkeys, camels. That fell over, it might have been days ago, it might have been decades ago, hard to say. But if you can get to that, and assuming that the interior has not filled up with sand, you can get there and probably survive.
All right.
I like that answer.
Yeah, I'll totally take that.
Better than
So
nothing.
I point over to the abandoned settlement, and I, depending on where they're standing, I don't know if they came up to the dune without me or I yelled down
We'll
to
say
them
yes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I point to the settlement. I'm like, let's make our way over there. We might be able to survive this. And we start hoofing it over there.
So for this next one, we are going to use what is called a party move. This doesn't use anybody's stats the way that the basic moves do. They're kind of dependent on your circumstances. So the move we're going to make is called Stay on the Path. And what this is basically for is for anytime you need to traverse dangerous or uncertain territory. It runs a little bit like a montage scene in a movie. Like if you think Lord of the Rings, when they're going up the mountain Karathras, that's Stay on the Path. So fortunately, we've established that the path you walk is known to at least one of the Wanderers, that being Cam. And in that case, you can add +1 to your roll. So the way that we've been doing party moves in our playtests is one player rolls one die and another player rolls another die, and you put them together. So kind of replicate the, you're all in this together. So Brian, since you've rolled one, let's have Alex and Mitchell each roll a die. We'll add those together and then add +1 to that and see how you do.
Sounds good. I'll roll a fancy blue die for this.
Nice. Blue is the opposite of sand.
I've got a mediocre 3.
I got also a 3.
Okay, so
6, so 7. Yeah.
So fortunately with that +1, so that gets you to a 7. So 7 to 9, again, in PBTA, it's a mixed success. So on a 7 to 9, you get where you're going, but you lose time, energy, or resources in the process. So I'm going to turn this over to the players. Would you would you like to sustain a minor injury, or would you like to lose something important in your hasty run to the shelter?
Since I'm the one that doesn't know anything about surviving a sandstorm, Elshadad has no clue what's going on. I'll sustain the harm for this one.
All right.
I think I will as well. I don't have a lot in my inventory besides my 2 weapons, so.
Okay, no worries. Well, so I'll be a little more specific. The thing I was going to take away from you was actually the last of your water supply. If somebody takes a hit or lose your water, up to you.
I'll take the hit.
Yeah, I'll take a minor rock to the shoulder.
Okay.
Or a trip and fall, whatever it is.
All right.
A bump.
I think the way I'm going to do that then. So, Elshadad, so you know almost nothing about being out in the desert. You said, are you like a city boy?
I have right here. He grew up in like the steadings just outside of Ajmarken. Before he started pursuing a different path.
I like that you picked that one. That is what I have in my head. That's a good city for someone to grow up with dreams of being a magician. So, so you've never been out this far. You don't know how dangerous these storms can be. And I think part of what makes them so dangerous is you're looking at that titanic wall of sand and being, okay, as long as that's not here yet, we're safe. But the storm pushes a bow wave in front of it. And I think what hits you on the back of the head is a bone, is like a leg bone from someone else who died out here, maybe from a sandstorm, maybe from their fellow travelers who didn't like their company. Who can say?
The heat.
And it goes winging through the air like a boomerang, and just tonk, gets you on the back of your head. The other two, you run for like another, dozen feet or so before you realize, like, wait a minute, where's Elshadad? And he is just face down in the sand, like moving, but clearly like not doing so great.
Trying to get back up.
Exactly. So Elshadad, go ahead and mark 1 harm on your sheet, and I'm actually going to say that's the only harm we need to mark. Like, trouble or losses on the road is kind of, you can
Sure.
make it as bad as you want it to be, but because characters in this game generally only have like 5 harm boxes, that's 20% of your health. One person taking 1 harm is probably good. So
That's a nice big gash on the back of the head.
yeah, it's you taste copper, and you kind of forget where you are and what you're doing for a second.
You just hear the 2 of us running over, like, all like muffled and like.
So between the 2 of you, Elias and Cam, you're able to get Elshadad back on your feet and into the shelter. Whoever is the last one in, like, to close the door. Let's say, because let's say Elias, because we haven't had a spotlight moment from you yet.
Sure.
The other 2 get inside. You turn around to, like, brace the door, and you see the wall the wall of sand just hitting, like, it's like watching the tornado arriving. And you get the door shut just before just a howl as big as the world roars over this tiny structure, and you hear the whisper and rasp and snap of billions of grains of sand starting to erode this structure even as you're inside of it. It is completely dark in here. Even any light that was managing to get through, like, the crack in the door is smothered by the sand itself. You are in complete darkness.
I'm just holding the door, and I'm like, why would anyone want to conquer this part of the world?
Actually, here's a fun opportunity. Since you're bracing the door against the sand, Elias, you can feel the pressure of the sand trying to, like, push it back open while you're fighting with, like, the lock to brace it. Can you please give me a roll to withstand against that pressure? Which uses
So that
iron
is
will.
2d6 plus my iron will, which is 1,
That is correct.
for actually a 10.
Nice. Okay, so on a 10, you hold fast against the sand and don't take any penalties. So I am going to, the phrase I like to use is, I'm going to give you the camera. Describe Elias's heroic battle against the sandstorm.
Sure. I'll say that in the dark, as I'm standing, I realize that the floor I'm on is a bit uneven. There's a loose rock or a plank of wood or something. I can't tell. It's dark. But it feels like it's something I can use. And so with one forearm braced against the door, I, like, lean myself a little bit lower just where I can get a hand to the floor, pick it up, whatever it is, and realize I can wedge it in the door, and it'll stay now.
Perfect, yeah.
So we're safe,
For now.
but still dark.
Yeah.
Anybody got a torch?
It's a good question.
Something-
What's like the inventory situation in this game? Because I know like we picked like iconic weapons that are like part of our character, but like what about like miscellany? How's that working? Mostly for simplicity's sake, we don't really have like a tools and inventory system. I would say if you were setting out on a long expedition, and you knew you were trying to find a library that's been buried under the desert. Makes perfect sense that you would have brought some torches. Great.
So whoever would like to be the torchbearer can be that.
I use a bow, not me.
I'll be the torchbearer. I'm not doing a whole lot.
All right.
I'm sitting here bleeding
Well,
on the floor.
Are
I
you
might
still
as well.
dazed and confused? Light a torch without setting us on fire.
Look, I'm not using magic for this one. yet.
Okay.
So what do we see now?
So once Elshadad gets the torch lit, the room you're in is not very big. Like, this whole structure is maybe 15 feet, from one curved wall to the other. And right in the middle, like, it's as soon as you get the torch lit, Elshadad, you realize that Cam was seconds from stepping backward into, like, the spiral, like the gap where the spiral staircase would lead down.
Oh no.
Good luck to you then.
Yeah. So Cam almost took a tumble down, but you managed to get the torch lit before then. The room itself, there's some storage racks, probably where people would stash their packs or the food and water that they were traveling with. This place looks like it hasn't been used for at least a year, probably longer than that. So the stock walls are completely bare. You can see some people have left little, like, graffiti, just writing, the usual, like, Hakan was here,
Sure.
Or actually, Elias, you would see that someone has left, like, a very, like, hastily scrawled, like, Zahir's Outriders spotted, and then, a date. So
Right.
it's, somebody was using this place as shelter and trying to pass that along, but that is old news by now. Like, Zahir's forces have moved through this region already. But then there's the staircase heading down. Cam, because you've been out here, you've probably used one of these before. You know that if there's something useful, it'll be down there in the basement area.
Well, thank you for lighting that torch so I didn't, like, tumble down the stairs and knock myself unconscious. I guess
That'd
I'll...
be an unfortunate fate for you.
I'll light my own torch so that we can have one torch upstairs and one torch downstairs, and I'll light my own torch, and I'll start heading down the stairs to see if I can find anything useful to us in this situation, or just in our...
I'll double check the door
journey.
before we go down. Just to see if there's any additional object I could pile. Yeah.
Oh, good idea.
Actually, can I do bend reality here and make sure that door is fully secured?
Oh,
Listen, it wouldn't be a TTRPG if we didn't talk about a door for way too long.
I know, right?
Oh my God!
We
you're
want
not
this
wrong.
one closed.
So what's the door made of? When was it built? Is there a year on
Is it sentient?
What's
Is it- gotta ask me a
the
riddle.
height and the width of the door? Do we know?
The door is the door is actually an oblate spheroid constructed of primarily lithium.
Oh, dang! All right.
Okay.
Wow.
It's startlingly
soft,
advanced door
actually.
for this region.
Jeez.
But yes, actually, so one of the bend reality effects is create a barrier, so that would absolutely work for this. All right, Elshadad, let's have you roll bend reality, which
Okay, yeah. So it's just
rolls with iron will. And but before you roll, actually, paint me a picture. What does it look like when Elshadad uses his magic? And because you're the one who bears the curse, what's kind of messed up or unsettling about it specifically?
so Elshadad's gonna look around for a moment, kind of get his bearings. It's bleeding off like just from his head. It's all in his hair and everything. And he needs a conduit of some sort. And what is a better conduit than his own blood?
Classic.
So he dabs, he takes it from him, he looks at his bloody fingers, all wrapped up, bandaged from numerous other things. And you hear him murmuring to himself, the shadows from the flickering flames growing and twisting as if trying to, as if ink on a page is starting to spread out. And he is the biggest blot of ink out of all of them. And he's going to approach the door and make a quick little sigil on it with his blood. And as long as it works, we shouldn't have a problem.
Let's
But we'll see.
let's find out.
All right, I got a +2 to this, so, and that's a total of 13.
Hell yeah.
Very nice. All right, so you get to choose an effect from the bend reality list. and you do not need to choose a complication. And so I know I threw out an effect earlier. You do not have to pick an effect before you roll. You can do, for a future reference, you can do something else depending on what the roll's result was. But I will turn that to you to describe what you do with your magic.
Absolutely. And just he's going to come up and he's going to make that sigil on the door. This sphere with several spider web designs on the side of it, as if it's trying to stretch out, and you'll see the inky shadows connect with his blood and hold the door shut. And for a moment, it seems as if the ink's beginning to drip down the walls before forming this hardened shell upon the door. And he's going to gently just tap his friend on the shoulder and give him a very fragile smile. Well, good thing we have good fortune on our side, right?
Suppose that works better than my rocks.
I suppose so.
Elias, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So, Elshadad's magic is ultimately derived from the Lie, which is the same source as Zahir's magic. My question for you is, when you saw that sigil, what terrible thing did you see or help Zahir do with a similar sigil? And you can make up anything you want for this.
Right.
Just as long as it was awful.
He probably would have seen, like sacrifices or something carried out where that sigil just, enlarged and maybe a bit more complicated. Would have people, cut open on it or whatever it is to maintain some dark ritual or turn the tide of a battle. And, probably supplied some of those bodies myself, unfortunately.
How does it feel to be that near to that magic and someone working it so unsettlingly skillfully again?
Not great. Definitely sends a chill up his spine, but he keeps his composure. He's a trained assassin. He's trained not to let his emotions show. So
we'll leave it at that.
While he was casting, I was a little, but by the time he was done, I'd gathered myself.
Yeah. So Cam,
and then now we go downstairs.
Yeah, Cam, you were fortunately spared from that side because you went down a little earlier. What you find down there is kind of what you were expecting. This is where there's a much larger and actually still partially stocked storehouse down here. Kind of based on what you have seen and what you know of the region, scavengers and bandits probably raided the upper levels first, but were either afraid to go downstairs or even maybe out of respect were like, okay, if the next person who needs this, really needs this, I shouldn't take anything from here because it might be me next time. So there is actually still clay jars full of water and cooking oil down here. There's even some wood to build a fire down here. I wouldn't recommend that right now because the chimney is blocked, but in theory, you could actually have a pretty nice little stay down in this area. There's bunk cots against one side of the wall that could seat 8 or 10 people, and one of them is occupied, but not by a living man. You find the best way to put it is you find a mummy. You find a desiccated corpse lying in one of the beds. Not quite a skeleton, but the skin has turned to leather. Most of the soft tissues have disappeared by now. And it is lying in the bed in repose. This person doesn't look like they were stabbed. It doesn't even look like they died in agony. This looks like someone who realized their time had come and met it with a certain amount of acceptance. And their arms are crossed over their chest, and they are holding a leather bag that seems like it's still in pretty good condition. Whatever it was important enough to this person that they didn't want to let it go even in death.
Open the bag, Brian.
Tempting. I feel like after all these years of mercenary work, I've developed. I've made my peace with having to go out and carry sentences. We'll leave it at that with people. But when I come across a body in the world that I had nothing to do with, I think that I would like to pay my respects of some sort. And so maybe I carry with me. I don't know, not flowers. What else would be appropriate? Something to carry with me or something. Maybe I don't know what kind of religions.
Do they do like coins on the eyes? Maybe kind of something like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
something like that. Let's say I'll put down like
forehead, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a coin and I'll place it on their forehead and just kind of bow my head and nod and then start looking in that leather bag.
No, that's
I'd like to buy this bag from you, sir.
That was exactly what you should have done. So, little peek behind the curtain. If you had just grabbed the bag, something would have happened. But you were civilized. You were honorable. You made a sacrifice, however small, and as a result, the bag comes more or less freely from the dead man's hand. You're close enough now to tell, like, this was probably a man in life. And inside the bag is rolled up paper. And there's no writing on it. This was clearly like paper meant to be taken into cities and sold for people to write on. But stamped in the bottom left corner, which I'm going to decide right now for no reason whatsoever. I'm going to say that in this setting, language is read from bottom left to top right. So before anyone would write anything else, there is a steamed stamp on the paper that is the sigil of the goddess Ishtartha, who is the goddess whose library you have been looking for this whole time. So this paper probably came from that library, and this person died not too far from it.
Ooh, okay. But it doesn't look... We can't see anything on the paper other than the stamp.
Yeah, other than the stamp, there's no other, identifying...
things of any kind.
Yeah.
We can't, carefully hold it up with, fire behind it, light behind it, shine through?
Yeah, I'm gonna... That's kind of my only thought. I was just gonna, see if I can, hold it up. I'll stick the torch in a crack in the ground that'll hold it up for a second. And I'll take the paper and I'll, hold it up to the light to see if I can see anything. That invisible ink, if you will.
What an interesting idea. Let's have you roll Seek Insight once again to see what you can see.
Right, I rolled a total of a 6. Do I add anything to that? Seek Insight?
You roll your... so you add your Nimble Mind, which in your case is a 0.
7. Alright, so leave it at a 6. That is not in the 7 and 9 range.
Okay, so the good news for people who have not played Powered by the Apocalypse games before, and to be fair, not all of them do this, but when you roll a miss, you mark experience. You learn from your mistakes in this game. So that's the good news. Don't know if we'll, fill that up to buy you anything this
We might not level up today, yeah, but...
Yeah, but go ahead and mark it anyway, just for fun.
He's a one-shot.
Here's the downside. When you miss, it's not that nothing happens, it's that something bad happens. And the way that I'm going to interpret this is you hold it up to the light, and as you're looking at it... So, the thing about the truth is... So when people say you need to shed light on a situation, or you need to bring uncomfortable facts to light, in this setting, those are not just turns of phrase. Exposing something to the light is itself an act of devotion to truth. You are burning away the lie. And the truth, as you are looking at this paper that came from a sacred library. The truth you can see is that the library is not only close, and you're actually starting to even see a map being drawn on the paper before your eyes. And that is when you hear something inside the structure with you shriek. It's like a yowling cat mixed with like the whistle of a tea kettle going off, but there's something sharper than that. There's something that makes the shriek into something that pierces through your rib cage.
Desert banshees.
Probably not wrong.
And then there's another one that answers it. And it's in here.
Cool. Love that for me.
In the long road ahead, this is what's called a hard move.
Yeah.
Do you run or do you fight?
Well, I am going to, as this all happens, I guess I will drop the map to the floor and instinctively take out my twin hatchets that I have and whip around.
Do we see anything yet, or have we just heard them?
All three of you heard something down there.
Right,
okay.
But we don't see anything yet.
You do not see
so
anything
I'm gonna whip
just
around.
yet.
I'm going to drop the map, whip out my hatchets, and then whip around to try to figure out where the sound is coming from.
Okay. You're looking around, and so because this room is like white stone, the torch that you lit lights it up pretty well. Nothing's hiding in the shadows because there aren't that many shadows. But as you're turning around trying to look for something, you turn your back on the torch, and the torch itself goes out, plunging you back into darkness. And then you see the darkness move. It's like watching a small animal like moving underneath a rug, but the rug is like the stone wall. And then you see a face, not too different from the desiccated corpse's face that you saw just a moment ago. And it distends its jaw down to what would be its chest, pulls itself, heaves itself actually the rest of the way out of the wall, and you are faced with a creature that you have heard of but never seen before. Elias has seen these before.
Oh, good.
This
Lucky.
is a shuddering ghoul.
Are shuddering ghouls shootable?
They are. They are creatures of spirit, but they are also creatures of matter. You can hurt them.
Corporeal enough.
Exactly. Yeah, enough being the operative word.
So they are an entity. Got it.
Yes, these are not entities. That's an important distinction.
To clarify, I was the only one that went downstairs into the basement area, right? So I'm alone down here.
I think we're coming down at this point, probably.
Yeah, you'll be alone down here for the next 3 seconds before the others get there. But in those 3 seconds, Cam, what do you do?
Well, as the light goes out, I'm gonna do something weird here. I'm gonna take my twin hatchets and the steel or whatever. I'm gonna try to create a spark and hit them against each other to get some sort of light, but it's not gonna be enough. So I'm gonna just try to do a little spark, just see if I can see anything past the darkness, past this creature. But
I mean, it makes sense.
probably not gonna be much of a help.
Or maybe they just really don't like getting sparked upon.
Perhaps
they're
there might
flammable.
be
Who
something
knows?
to that.
Maybe
I
they're
like
hyper
that
flammable.
interpretation.
Maybe they're blended in the dark because they're made of pure crude oil.
We don't know. Oh yeah, explode all of us right now. Here,
Yeah.
came
Can
in.
you imagine?
Long road done. Long road is over.
Turns out the long road ends in a petroleum fire.
Yep.
The only accurate ending for a bunch of weirdos.
Accidentally blew up.
Right.
Yeah, anyway.
no worries. Cam, so is your goal here to like gather information about these creatures, or to hurt them, or what is the thing you're trying to do?
I guess gather information, because
Okay.
all I know, you said I've heard of this creature before, or I haven't seen it before. My character.
Cam has heard of these. They're not very common, and in fact, before Zahir started out to conquer heaven and earth, no one had seen a shuddering ghoul for 1,000 years. They're getting more common now. So you'd heard of them, but like you'd heard of them the way you'd heard of like the boogeyman. It was.
Yeah.
This is something that like city parents used to scare.
Fully
their
encrypted.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
I guess I was going to say I'm trying to gather more information. In a split second of panic, I'm like, I need light, so I'll create a spark, but it's not going to be enough. So it's just me trying to be able to see, I guess, and gather information. Whatever.
One frame of information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it flinches and your learner doesn't like the light or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think I feel a little bad because this is the third time I've asked you to roll the same move. But if you're trying to gather information, go and roll to seek insight again.
Brian's just full of questions.
7.
Questions are good.
7. Okay, nice. All right, so you get to ask one question about your situation or surroundings or your foes.
How do I kill it?
The others kind of hinted at this, but yeah, when you strike that spark, the shuddering ghoul shrieks again, and you see it like hold up, gaunt, clawed hands to cover its eyes, and you hear it under the at the same time it's shrieking, you hear it mumble, no, 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 no.
Yeah, cool. So then I guess I'll do more sparks then. I can tell that it doesn't like the sparks. So I'll just keep doing more sparks until they come down the stairs with their torch, and hopefully that'll I'll keep sparking as much as I can to buy myself some time.
No, that's
I still don't know if I can hit it, but
so you are able to kind of push it back or keep it from getting close enough to touch you, which is good because you see the other one just hauling itself, this one out of the floor, and the sparks are holding that one at bay too. So Elias and Elshadad, you get downstairs, and what you see is Cam barely holding back these two creatures, but every time he turns to like scare one off, the other one gets a little bit closer, and then he turns to scare that one off, and the other one gets a little bit closer. And
his torch is lit, right?
No, it's unlit.
yeah, the one that Cam had lit was extinguished by the
Cam's is out, but Elshadad had one too, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Elshadad's torch.
The guy
is lit.
standing next to me, more importantly. So I'm thinking, as we come down the stairs, I see these things. I recognize them because of my backstory and whatever. Can I pull an arrow out of my quiver, flick it through his torch so that it's on fire, and then shoot at one of them?
You absolutely can, and if you so I'm gonna ask you to roll take up arms for this, and if you choose to deal your weapons harm, I'm gonna say you're gonna deal +1 harm since you were using fire. So take up arms rolls with stout.
And I have a feature called Dread Arsenal, so that this also does another +1 harm with my bow.
Excellent.
That is a 10 on the die. I have 2 stout heart. That is a dirty 12.
Ooh, okay. So you get to choose an effect, and you do not need to choose a drawback.
Fantastic. So the bow's base damage is 2 harm. It's +1 harm for my feature, and then another 1 for the fire. So we'll say that's 4 harm.
All right.
And then take up arms, my good effect. Let's see.
So
I would like to protect another wanderer from an incoming threat, assuming I haven't killed it outright.
Quick clarification for take up arms. So one of the effects is deal your weapons harm to a foe.
Oh, okay.
So a little brief
That's not
aside, we
default.
wanted to add in things that weren't necessarily damage dealing, but were still like things you can
it's
do in
fighting,
combat.
quote unquote. Yeah. But it's not necessary. So then yes, I will hit it.
Okay, sweet. So that
for
is
the
your
4 harm.
effect. Well, I have some fantastic news for you. Dealing 4 harm to this thing will kill one of them, just outright.
Nice.
I'm going to give you the camera once more. What happens when the arrow hits the shuddering ghoul?
I'm gonna say, classic weak to fire undead type monster. It hits it and the whole thing just ignites. It's consumed in fire, and it sort of shrieks and then kind of like melts back through the floor. Like,
Nice.
I did it in my chair. Sorry, I had to sit back up.
Well, down your chair.
Oh, Alex is gone.
Yeah, typical shadow creature death. They're on fire, melting through the floor, and then once it is fully melted through the floor, the fire also mostly goes out. A couple little embers on the floor.
Absolutely gorgeous. That definitely gets the other shuddering ghoul to like turn its attention to you, because sparks are scary, fire is even worse. So now you have its attention, and it is going to hurl itself at you, Nazgul-like. Elshadad, what would you like to do in this situation?
Boy.
You also have the torch.
I also have a torch, and I have magic, turns out. I know. Well,
Little
it's
fire
not...
breather, a little.
I was about to do that. Like, I was about to grab the torch and lie in the face of gods and say it's a whip.
Oh, you want to Balrog his ass? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what, bend reality at this point? Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right, let's go.
Back beast.
Oh, no. Wait, hang on. I got a +2, so it's actually 6. Okay.
Oh,
That's still-
Altogether. I did not roll well.
so a 6 total.
Oh, no, sorry. No, 7, because I rolled a 4, 1, and I have a 2. 7.
Okay.
My bad.
no, that's all right.
Scare us like that,
I
jeez.
immediately thought I had a 1, and I'm like, wait, no, I have a 2 there. That's the one thing I'm good at.
Right. That's okay. So in that case, you do get to choose an effect from Bent Reality. You also need to choose a complication, since you rolled between a 7 and a 9.
Absolutely. We're not going to catch fire. Instead, he is going to, like I said, he's going to effectively lie and grab the face, or grab the fire and turn it into a whip to deal direct range supernatural harm to the creature. So 2 harm to it.
That's wonderful,
Complication. So let's do something. I can either draw attention to myself, or I can upset someone important to me. I'll do upset someone important to me. We're gonna upset Elias here
Oh no.
by having it be a little too close to some of Zahir's more egregious actions with fire.
Mm-hmm.
You are whipping a dude.
I am whipping a dude with
Pretty
a fire
uncool.
whip. As cool as it is.
And it is very cool, but
Just a little too close.
all right. So first effect, 2 harm. Actually, no, 3 harm, because you are using fire. You get the +1 as well.
Nice.
So 3 harm to one of the shuddering ghouls, which as you bring the whip, like as you lash the whip out at it, you can see that it is like seriously hurting this thing. It is. You do not kill it outright the way that Elias did, but it is not doing great. You are so focused on this that you do not see Elias. Describe the look on your face, and then would you please choose a struggle to mark to reflect the horrible memory this brings
Sure,
up?
let's see here.
Oh boy.
Where do I? Oh, I see. I hate picking bad things.
If you want to
Don't do
disclaim decision, I can pick one as well. That's
No.
up to you.
I'll get it.
Okay.
I will go with the spineless struggle here.
Okay. The next time you need to roll with Iron Will, you'll take -2 to that roll.
Okay.
Which is how struggles
Oh
work.
boy.
So Elias, kind of similar question I asked before. What painful memory does that bring up?
So, bad evil conquering man do bad evil things. He has whipped people, which is really uncool.
Yeah.
And so, I've seen this, and it's bringing up some difficult memories. So, after my one really cool kill shot, I will then kind of just turn into the corner and look away, because he just doesn't want to. He doesn't even want to look at this scene right now. He's just gonna leave his back exposed, which he realizes is a bad idea, but he just can't look at this scene.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh no, Elias, what have I done?
So, Cam, you kind of saw that whole thing, including how Elias reacted to the fire whip. The shuddering ghoul is not doing great, but it is still alive, and I think what it is going to do is you see it actually like take a breath, because as you said, they are corporeal enough, they do breathe, and it is going to let that breath out in a shriek of not just pain, but hatred. This is something that hates, not the living, because it's not quite undead, but it hates the whole. It hates the formed. It hates the things which are allowed to have lives, which it is not. And it is going to make a shrieking wail, which is going to do 1 harm to everyone in the area, because it is a ranged attack.
Sure.
So everyone go and mark 1 harm, both from just the sonic pain of it, and from the like brief touch of that hatred that this thing has for humanity. And then after
Just
that,
in the corner, fingers in my ears.
Yeah.
I'm not listening. I'm not watching.
Skill issue.
And I want to be here.
And then, Cam, once you recover from that, it will be your action to take us home.
Okay. So I've seen. So my background is I know that this thing exists, but I don't know its weaknesses or anything. But what I've witnessed is that fire seems to work, based on the other 2 attacks. So what I'm going to do is I saw Elias. When after Elias killed that one, that there were some embers on the ground. What I'm going to do is run over and grab a handful of those embers and toss it at the other one. See if I can use, because that's the only fire that I can think of right now. I don't know if my axes would work, but I've seen the fireworks, so I'm going to take the embers and throw it, hoping that does at least 1 damage or something.
Nice. Okay. So normally the way this works is when you're using kind of a improvised weapon, normally this does 0 harm. However, you took a feature called The World is My Armory, which in addition to some other effects,
Hell yeah.
you may also always make use of your surroundings to find, fashion, and wield an improvised weapon with the following stats. 1 harm, practical, fragile. So not only will this do 1 harm, because it is, a weapon of fire, it gets +1 harm. So your ember will actually do 2 harm, practical, fragile, if you successfully take up arms.
Oh, right. So I got to roll for that?
Yes, please. That is with Stout Heart.
9. Yeah.
9? Okay.
That is a 9. Yeah.
All right. So because you rolled a 9, you get to pick 1 effect from the take up arms list. But you also need to choose a drawback. And just as a reminder, if you want to deal harm, that is the effect that you'll choose. Or you can pick one of the others as well.
Yeah, harm. I want to give it that 2 harm.
Excellent. All right. And what drawback do you want to have to deal with as a result?
I guess picking up the embers, it kind of burned my hand a little bit. Maybe my hands are very coarse from being over the years. Maybe they're almost like leather, but they're not, fully insulated. So it is going to burn my hand a little bit.
You are not Daenerys.
Right. Oh. All right. So
or enough embers to give it enough harm, and also enough embers to hurt my hand, having picked up the embers.
I like that. That's a great way to kind of flip that with the fiction. So the I also like that as the game's theme of sacrifice. You sacrificed your own well-being to save your friend, so that works nicely. All right, so I'm going to say go ahead and mark one more harm on yourself, and your hands are going to be kind of useless for the foreseeable future, because you have burned them until you get some kind of medical attention, some ointment or something to soothe the burn. But now you get the camera. Tell me what the embers do to the shuddering ghoul when they hit it.
In my mind, the ghoul is like just finishing up its scream, so its mouth is still open as I'm running over to grab the embers, and I actually toss it into the mouth of this being. And so it like kind of chokes on it, and then it kind of chokes on the embers, and also there's like a little bit of fire coming out of its mouth now. I don't know if it's dead yet or if that just hurt it, but
Coming out of its nose and its ears.
When you eat some hot chips, I understand.
Yeah.
Flaming hot Cheetos.
And even I order spicy instead of mild.
I was gonna say, yeah. when I get the second chili pepper at the pho place.
2 little fire emojis.
All right. That one, just brief aside, that's so cool. Yes, so the shuddering ghoul does in fact shudder back and forth, like it looks like a camera blur, and then the shadows fall apart like a threadbare cloak, just coming apart at the seams. And you hadn't really noticed in the thick of the fight, but these things' presence made the shadows deeper and dimmed the light from the torch itself. So as soon as it's gone, the torch, well, it's not a torch anymore because you convincingly lied Elshadad to make it into a whip. But the light from that whip lights the room back up as brightly as it was before, and you are left with the shadowy thread remains of the 2 ghouls.
Well, it seems we avoided an unfortunate fate.
Could you do me a favor and just make a sword next time?
Did I upset you in some way?
It's fine. Just, it would be preferable.
I will try. The blade is a little unconscionable, though.
Perhaps a hammer, then.
Very well.
Are you carrying any ointment?
Cam, let me see.
Oh.
Let me see your hands, please.
Cam, do you trust Elshadad enough to
Do you?
let him heal you?
What's the next creepy thing I'll describe? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Well,
it is your turn.
Being that my hands are burned, I can't go into my own pack and get out any ointment because I can't use them. So I have to place my trust into him for at least this second here.
Even if it's not magical medical attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is the one thing that I'm good at. So it will be magical medical attention. Yeah, so Elshad's gonna stumble over, still bleeding from the head and now from the ears. It's been a day. He's gonna take Cam's hands and he's going to again bend reality to clear 2 harm from you or another.
Absolutely. All right, go ahead and give me
He's
that.
not
reality
gonna do it
roll.
to himself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so much better. That's a total of 9.
9. Okay. So again, 7 to 9. You can choose the effect. You do also need to choose a complication.
All right. Well, we know the effect. I'm going to clear 2 harm from someone else. So I'm going to clear 2 harm from Cam.
That takes effect no matter what else. So Cam, go ahead and erase those 2 harm.
Perfect.
And just keeping the theme of sacrificing and
Kill
lies.
time, but... Oh, cool. could just go with the one that wastes some time.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, it's gonna require. It's gonna require his full attention for some time, because by the time he's done with it, it's just a full on. He's lying to Cam's body effectively, and then just pulling off the hands for a moment, like the first layer of skin from the hands, and they're just all healed.
Oh yeah.
You like deglove him, and he's got good skin underneath.
Just good skin underneath.
Whoa,
Jesus! Look at it. Or whatever deity is in this world. Whoa!
I could do it to myself, but it's quite horrifying when I do it to myself.
Yeah.
Can I say, while they're doing that, I've gone over to the paper. Does the map actually exist now, or?
So, kind of like when Cam was looking at it, you look at it, and at first it's like, oh, this is paper. It's incredibly good quality paper. It's smooth. It practically begs to have not a pen but a brush on it. It really wants a brush written on it. You can tell that. But at first that's all you see. But then when you hold it up to the light, after a couple of seconds, and you have plenty of time to do this because Elshadad is has to take his time. A map does indeed start to form, and the good news is, the whole time that you were stumbling around in the desert trying to find this place, seeing absolutely no sign of it, part of the reason perhaps that you didn't find what you were looking for is that it looked very similar to one of these shelters. What the map will tell you is the library's location is right over one of the shelters that you passed before, actually. It kind of is similar, like, oh, that's just like a caravan stop. That's not what we're looking for. But the library has been gone for so long that the top of its tower has just been converted into another caravan stop. Just people who didn't know what they were dealing with were like, oh yeah, this is just, an old structure. We may as well stop here for the night. And didn't bother to explore it further. But you are very close, maybe 8-9 miles, like a couple hours walk, as soon as the sandstorm dies down. Which, sort of the good and sort of the bad thing about sandstorms is they happen very quickly. But they're also over very quickly. There is a downside to this knowledge, which is, one, the Shuddering Ghouls absolutely serve Zahir. When I said they started showing up when he started sweeping over the world, and those rituals that you mentioned where people were sacrificed, their truth was twisted into the lie that is a Shuddering Ghoul. And somehow they knew exactly where to find you. And they were using the sandstorm as cover. Like, in the time it's taking, it's just all of you're kind of working this through in your head, like, oh, yeah, that's what Zahir's doing.
This was a trap.
Yeah. And the worst part is you're not sure if they're following Elshadad and attracted to his use of the lie, or if they're following you because Zahir wants you back.
Or just wants someone to not find the library. Yeah. I'll turn to the group then with the map and just say, we passed it.
Well,
as soon as the storm is over, we'll head back.
Structure looked just like this one. Half a day's hike back the way we came. They don't know what they have there. But I sense that we won't be alone there. I get the feeling this was a trap.
Did we lose water before? We talked about potential mishap with water before. I forget if we actually lost it.
No, instead he got bonked on the head.
Oh, right. That's right. I was going to say we can restock up on water here.
Yes. In fact, as you're looking around, you actually find a spigot that goes to like an artesian well here. It's one of the reasons why they built a shelter here. It smells and tastes very strongly of sulfur, but once you kind of get used to that, it's cool, clear water, and I don't know. There's probably something good about the sulfur, right? Good for the bones.
Sure.
That's what the water's like in Iceland.
Exactly.
It's good for the bones.
Did my honeymoon there, and it's all geothermally heated water, so the hot water smells like eggs.
Yep.
Totally fine for you. It's gaseous, so it's... Anyway, fun fact.
And now you know.
So yeah, we know where we're going. Once the storm passes, I guess we'll head on our way.
So the storm is, you can hear it. It's mostly over at this point. Like it would probably finish up within the next hour or so. The question I have for the Wanderers is, would you like to take this opportunity to stop to rest? So this is another party move, kind of like stay on the path. And this is an opportunity to get some, clear some marked harm. Kind of boost yourself for the travel ahead. There's a couple different things that you can do.
I think we should. Why not? This is the developer showcase after all. So why don't you tell us how resting works in this game?
All right,
Let's go.
So it's like stay on the path. It's dependent on your circumstances. So if the place the Wanderers have stopped is relatively safe, you roll with +0. If the place is currently under the control of the adversary or an antagonist, roll -1. And one Wanderer may add +1 to the roll by keeping watch while the others rest. But the character who keeps watch does not gain any holds from the rest, so you don't gain any of the benefits from the move. So my question is, would anyone like to keep watch and make sure no more shuddering ghouls show up? Or do you all want to, lay down your burdens for a moment?
I'll keep
harm,
watch.
so
I'll keep
okay.
watch.
All
Well,
right.
but if Brian doesn't have any harm,
True.
Yeah, do you have a harm or something?
I have 2.
You healed me.
yeah.
Yeah, well, okay,
Mitch
then,
and I, Mitch has 2, I have 1, so we should rest, and then
You healed me of all my harm before, so I'll
Yeah.
take watch.
This is true.
we let him take watch.
Jumped ahead a little bit there.
That's all right. All right, so I'm going to say since Elias and Elshadad are the 2 Wanderers who are resting, you could each roll 1d6. We'll add those together, and we'll add +1 since somebody's keeping watch.
That's a 4. Mitch?
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
1d6.
I rolled a 4, so we're 8.
Oh,
So 9.
nice. Okay, so 9. All right, and let me...
I'm like staring at my dice over here for a moment. Just like, I'm supposed to be doing
That's a nice 4.
Oh, man. Man, I love cubes. All right, so 4, 4, 1, so that's a 9. Okay, so 7 to 9, each Wanderer gains 1 hold. So you can spend that hold to pick, well, in this case, one of the first 2 effects, because there is an effect that requires 2 holds to spend. So you can either clear 1 harm from yourself or another Wanderer, or you can gain a hold that can be spent for +1 forward to any move, including party moves, or any other roll. This hold lasts until the next time the party stops to rest. There's a little more mechanics to it, but basically either heal yourself or do something to give yourself a little bit of an edge or preparation for the journey ahead.
And do I have to pick what that goes to now, or am I just holding on to that?
Nope, you just have a hold that you can drop in.
Okay, so I just have a +1 anytime in the next day or whatever.
Yep, we can just retroactively decide
Okay.
good thing I packed this entrenching tool or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, I'm only at 1 harm out of my 6, so I think I'll keep the +1.
Well,
Nice,
I'm going
okay.
to heal that harm, so we're...
Good idea. All right. So stopping to getting some proper rest takes 5 or 6 hours. It's not necessarily a full night's sleep. Like it is in the world's most best-selling role-playing game. It's just enough to catch your breath. Get yourself centered again. And what I'm going to say then is, by the time you are finished, actually, Rook, before I do that, so we know what Elias and Elshadad are doing. Cam, while you are keeping watch, I want to take a moment and address something related to you as the loyal soldier. Because I imagine now that things have kind of calmed down a little bit, this is something that would be on your mind. So you are the servant of a wealthy merchant who sent you to secure a great prize. So my question for you, something that you would be thinking about a little bit. Tell me a little bit about this merchant, and what did they send you to get, and why do you have good reason to believe that you would find it in Ishtartha's library?
The merchant is just another merchant that I do this as my job. I take up quests to either do mercenary work or go on find artifacts or something for wealthy people. They'll pay me good money for it. So to me, this is just another job that I'm just willing to do. They've paid me half, and they plan to pay me, and I will collect the other half once I return with the item. As far as I actually wanted to brainstorm this with you a little bit about what the exact item might be that I would find in the library. I don't know if it's like a book that would make sense to find in a library, a certain book, or I don't know, or if it's like
it's like finding hay in a haystack, but
yeah, I know. It's
so I came up with something that I figured if you had an idea, we'd go with that, and if you didn't, we'd play with this.
Yeah.
So
I don't have too much idea.
No worries, you're good. That's backup plans. So the item that you have been sent to find is something called the Sapphire Skull, and what it is. So the stories go. This is a rock that fell to Earth from the sky above. And, depending on how devout and pious you are, the sky could be either heaven, or it could just be the sky. It could just be whatever's up there. Some of the astronomers in Orma insist that, the stars we see in the sky are other worlds just like this one, and some people say, no, those are the gravestones of dead gods. Nobody really knows for sure, but everyone agrees that everyone who's heard of the Sapphire Skull agrees that it came from up there. For the most part, it's a rock. It is a black rock shot through with veins of sapphires, and it is, if you look at it, kind of shaped like a lopsided skull, sort of in the way that humans are always finding faces and things, but this one really looks like a skull. You don't really know why the merchant wants it. I mean, it's full of sapphires. It's probably very valuable.
Very expensive.
Exactly. And, this is something that potentially fell from heaven, so maybe there's, maybe you could sell this to one of the temples in Ajmar Khan and they might be interested in. But this merchant, let's call him Jalil the Fair. Jalil the Fair really wants this thing, and he really doesn't want you to tell anybody that he wants it. And even he's not sure why you're likely to find this in Ishtartha's library. That's just, that's what the legends that he has read says. So he kind of pulled some strings and got you attached to this mission, and just kind of went, oh, and by the way, if you find this for me and bring it back, there'll be a little something extra in it for you. I promise to make it worth your while. And he absolutely talks like this all the time.
This is how people who hire mercenaries speak.
Let me tell you, he has a ring on every finger and 3 rings on his pinky fingers, and his fingernails are encrusted, and he's just an opulent fellow, and everyone loves him and finds him charming, and if they don't, he feeds them to a hyena.
Ooh, love that.
I like him. All right.
All right, great. We'll kill him next.
Jalil the Fair, everyone.
Flashback over.
Yeah, exactly. So my question for you, because I don't want that to just be a Scrivener Blithers. What do you think of Jalil the Fair, and what do you think of the Sapphire Skull? Like, what do you think of the mission you've been given?
I think when I was first given the mission, I didn't think twice about it. It's just another thing I've got to do, more work, just, this is what I do for a living, so I didn't think about it too much. But now that I'm, sitting here alone with my thoughts and, keeping watch, I'm thinking a little bit about it.
Just
and I'm wondering...
monsters.
Huh? Yeah, I just fought some otherworldly beings. I'm thinking to myself, like, what this rock could really do in the wrong hands, and I'm trying to decide whether or not... I'm trying to think whether or not I trust Jalil with this artifact. Usually, when I take up this kind of work, it's something that I don't know if it's a book or a deed that they were trying to get from somebody, or something that or a trinket of some sort, a golden chalice. I don't know. It seemed pretty harmless in the past, so this just seemed like another one of those. But as I'm thinking about it, this seems otherworldly in and of itself. And after the encounter I just had, I'm starting to think twice about whether or not I should deliver it back once I take hold of it and maybe assess the situation further. So I think at this point, I've decided that when I find this skull, I indeed plan to find this at all costs, because it sounds dangerous. That I will inspect it myself and see what it's all about and whether or not I plan to return with it.
All right, that's interesting. We'll see how that interacts with your mission when we get to it. But other than that, the rest of your time in the shelter passes more or less comfortably. You restock on your water from the springs. You kind of patch, and mend your minor wounds. You're pretty sure, like, if anyone goes to examine the desiccated corpse, this person was probably a paper merchant, which in the ranks of the merchant priests of Ishtartha, that actually would place him pretty high up, because Ishtartha's domains are commerce, writing, and travel. So someone who carries paper to faraway lands and sells it, like, he's pulling a hat trick. He's hitting all the marks. So this person, whoever it was, like, it's like being in the around the corpse of a cardinal or a lama. Very important guy.
Big deal.
No identifying marks or anything. And you think maybe he died maybe 50 years ago, maybe 100 years ago. The desert's very good at preserving bodies, so it's a little hard to say. But
This is a fresh corpse.
Not really.
Fresh enough. We can get answers from it.
You want to speak with dead? What would you ask?
There are many questions that I would ask, but I would much prefer to offer that service to you.
The man sold paper. It's an important job, sure, but...
But he sold paper to this goddess, correct?
I don't think he sold paper to her.
Or from this goddess, I should say.
Or I think paper manufacturers, with the papyrus.
He was important to this goddess.
Okay, there you go.
I misspoke. I apologize. There's a head wound
New
involved.
New line.
You took a pretty hard hit in the head.
Look, I've done some very terrible things today.
Oh dear God, will you please let me buy some paper from you? You don't want me to just give you paper as a miracle? No, I'd like to buy it.
Let me give you my gold, please.
That would kind of be how Ishtartha works, actually. It's like, all right, I'll grant you this miracle for a fair market price.
Accidentally correct, it's fair. But I would much prefer to offer you two the choices to question the corpse. I have many that I can ask as to what might be awaiting us at the library, but those are going to be more personally involved.
Your magic is not something that I'm an expert on, so I don't know if it's worth any risks. We don't know that he knew anything other than the map, but, it was a long time ago. Maybe a lot of people knew.
What are the downsides to your magic of using this magic on this corpse?
For you,
Potential risks.
I mean, a lot, actually. But for you,
Oh, great.
Nothing. It all comes from me.
If you feel comfortable with this and you feel like we have something to gain from this and the gains outweigh the risks, go for it.
Well, I do believe this would be advantageous to see if there are any traps awaiting us at this library, and if the map indeed is accurate. But I would much prefer.
Well, I'll just sit on the other end of the room then.
That is fair. That is very fair.
I'll stand in between you two, in the middle of the room.
Fair enough. All right. Looks like this would be a moment where I use Grim Sorcery. So how would I go about doing that?
All right. So when you bend reality, add a bonus to your roll equal to the number of currently marked struggles. Okay. So at the moment,
You're not struggling.
you actually don't have any struggles marked.
Dang. All right.
So
I don't have any.
now this still gives you the ability to pick some more options from Bend Reality. I will put out you also have Consult the Voices, and I would say you could
Makes
probably
sense.
also leverage that. Kind of either way, you're using Iron Will, so they both could work for this situation.
Sure, we'll do Console the Voices, and we'll use the corpse as kind of a conduit to kind of have a better answer, or more accurate answer for what I'm looking for.
All right. So before I have you roll, Elshadad, tell me about this unnatural intelligence that has bonded itself to you.
Oh boy. Before all of this, before adventuring, before becoming a magician, Elshadad was just your simple pauper. Third son of a third son, no real influence. And he didn't like that too much. So he began experimenting, exploring Ajmer Khan and the Thousand Temples, and delving into forbidden secrets and dark rituals and the like. I would say the last ritual he attempted had something of the lie, I would say. Clutch onto him and begin whispering extra pieces of knowledge to him early on that's only grown stronger over these couple of months. But it reminds him at every opportunity that he is nobody. He has no fate until he kills somebody who does. So, however you want to interpret that.
And then you killed a wizard.
And I became a wizard. There is a reason he's called Elshadad, the Fate Eater, after all.
It's not just because he loves that tasty, tasty fate.
Exactly. Tastes like
Man,
chocolate when it goes down.
They make great fate in Ajmer Khan. You should. Oh man, the street food game.
Sparkling or tap fate?
You want the organic sugar fate. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like the gluten-free fate.
Look, I'm on a low-carb diet. All right, can we go to the non-carb fate, shall we?
Sorry, I have a fate allergy. All right.
I like my fate rolled in chickpea flour.
Oh, dang. All right. So
all
that
right,
is just rolling iron
let's
will.
have you consult the voices then.
Was going to do something untoward to the body to do it, but we're not going to. He's just going to kind of...
I mean, you can. I'm not stopping you.
I mean, he doesn't need his pinky, right?
No.
He doesn't need the...
Does anyone?
He doesn't... Does anyone really need the pinky? Well,
Pinky
such a
toe,
strong word.
yes.
the
but
pinky
not the
toe,
pinky
yes,
finger.
not the pinky. So he's gonna take the very top bone of the pinky and add it to a nice collection on his protection charms, or the armada of protection charms he has, and he's gonna use that as a conduit to his spell as he channels the lie. And we're gonna roll Iron Will, please get above 9.
Please, all this build up.
Actually, I got a 6 and a 4, so 10, so 12.
All
D-
right.
Dang. Okay.
Okay. I was expecting a payment for at the end of this, or have to pay something, but I guess not.
I know. I'm almost disappointed, but no. We'll go with it. All right. So, the being that has bound itself to you, the thing that lets you take other men's fate as your own, you see it creep in from the shadows and crawl into the wound left by the dead paper merchant's pinky finger. And you see first that hand, and then the whole arm, and then the upper torso start to boil and twitch, and it gets very stop motion.
Very Army of Darkness.
Yeah. And then it sits upright, and on with the clacking of vertebrae that have been dry for decades, turns to look at you.
Ugh, me every morning.
When you take a nap over 30.
Yeah, right. When you nap on the couch, yeah.
10,000 years. All right.
One of the jaw hinges doesn't quite work, and so when the intelligence speaks to you, it says, "Elshadad, my man, how you doing? You're looking good."
So far, I have
Elias is
nothing
at
to
the far
complain
end of the
about.
room with his bow just fully drawn, just straining.
It turns to look at you, Elias, and it just says, "Howdy doody, neighbor. Nice to meet you. Don't think I've had the pleasure."
I don't think he says anything, actually.
Oh, fine. Be like that. And turns to look back at you, Elshadad. "So, what can I do you for?"
Well, whenever we do this, we have very simple questions that need answered. Questions that I know you have.
That's what I love about you, Elshadad. You're a flatterer, and you're always hungry for knowledge. I can respect that. What would you know?
Indeed. We are looking for a library. In fact, the library.
Oh. Not her library.
Indeed, her library. And we have a lead on it.
Oh,
I never asked
knew
you
I
once
was-
before about this.
Yes. I knew I was right to choose you. You're going to lead me to such sights. Tell me,
Well,
what can I do to ease your passage?
I need to know what is in the library that may harm us.
Oh, prudent. Everything. Because knowledge is power, and power is dangerous. But that's not a fair answer, and I know it. That's not the terms of our agreement. You will be most in danger from the bookbinder. Yes. She will take one look at you, Elshadad, and she'll know what you've done. She'll know what you are, and she... Oh, she's going to hate you. And he turns and looks back at Elias and he says, "You're not on the guest list either, my boy."
I'm used to that.
And he turns to look at Cam, and he says, "You? Well, Ishtartha always did have a thing for mercenaries. Fighting merchants, she called them. She might like you. We'll see. We'll see what choices you make. But yes, she'll be very dangerous if you cross her, and perhaps even if you don't." What else would you know?
We do have one question left.
Yeah.
He's going to turn and look at Cam and Eliza.
Hey.
Hello. Careful how you phrase the question.
It's true. It must begin with a who, what, why, where, when, or how.
Those are the
it's
rules of the
game
game we're
mechanics.
And what was the one you asked? What did you start with?
playing. What could harm us?
What are we in danger of when we arrive? And the most in danger of, which is the bookbinder.
How do we avoid the bookbinder's attention?
Is that because you like the shadows? Do you like to skulk around in dark corners, Elias? Do you like it better when they don't see you coming? Is that why you ask?
I think you know the answer to that question.
I know many things, but I don't know you. Not really. I think I'm going to enjoy traveling with you and finding out what makes you. You can't avoid her notice. As soon as you enter the library, you will enter her knowledge. She'll be able to, if you'll pardon the pun, read you like a book. My advice, for once in your life, Elias, shadow. Don't sneak around. Announce your presence. Show up like gentlemen. She'll respect you more that way. And she might not kill you. She might even listen to your requests. But don't hide. Don't skulk around. Don't lie. She'll know. And she'll take it out on you. Well, boys. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been
The
real
real
fun.
creak of your chair there was nice.
It comes with free sound effects.
Yeah, built-in Foley. Yeah.
But I've got to scram. There's something else in that little subconscious of yours, Elshadad, that I was just about to sink my teeth into. And I'm feeling rather peckish. So long. Farewell. Be seeing you. And the corpse falls back and is once again just a desiccated corpse. Maybe a little more deflated than it had been a moment ago.
Once he's gone, I actually fire the arrow into the wall, just for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
At the spot where he was.
Yeah. How do the other two respond to that? Because an arrow firing in a small room is a rather dramatic event.
Elshadad would definitely flinch, but at this point he's so used to having whatever that thing is creeping around like at the back of his thoughts all the time that he's just ensuring that it is fully decorporealized before he looks away.
Yeah, Cam is also going to flinch and just look at Elias and be like, what the hell? He's already got. Chill.
Just makes me feel better. If I wanted to hit you, I would have.
Fair. I would not blame you for that.
Yeah, so by the time you were finished with your rest, The storm has passed. The sky is like a perfectly clear night sky. There's a full moon overhead, and with the paper, if you hold it up to the moon, it almost sort of functions like a GPS, actually. It tracks where you are and shows you where you need to go. So you find another one of these shelters. This one's built a little bit differently. It's got more of like a dome to it. And there's something about this one, as you get a little closer, it looks more solid. It looks almost more real, like it was built by someone who had a better understanding of architecture than the shelter you were just in. And you go inside, and it takes you a little while of poking around, but finally, let's say that it was Elias, because Elias, you're probably used to having to like go places where you're not wanted and find ways in, since you were an assassin.
That's the job.
You find it's an entrance to a library, so of course you go down and there's a handful of, there's a little take a book, leave a book nook in this place. And you feel around, and of course you find like, oh, if I lift this, like incredibly dry looking, book of, Chthonic poetry, you lift that and a secret entrance opens. Exactly, yep.
Wow, that was easy. How did no one find this library beforehand?
Really an inconvenience.
Chthonic poetry is really, really unpopular, is the thing.
That book is drier than this desert.
They write a lot of poems about their cows. It's just, yeah.
Surprisingly boring.
Yeah, it's even more boring than that sounds. So you are able to find your way to, and as you're going down the stairs, it's a little bit like one of the stairs in Moria. Like it's just an open expanse of darkness around you. But as your eyes adjust and you start to see like the edges of this silo that you're going down into, there is not a single empty shelf on these walls, and the books spiral down with the staircase, and you are just surrounded by potentially millions of books, some of which look like they've been here for 1,000 years and are like held together, by the barest of silk threads. Some look younger than since the library has disappeared. Like some look like they were bound months ago, but you finally actually so because because you were told to make your presence known, how do you choose to do this?
We were told to be
Gentlemanly and welcoming. Good house guests. So don't light a torch in a library. That's always bad.
Good thinking.
Paper. There's a used bookstore not far from me, and we go in there sometimes because they have vinyl records, and they have 1 million no smoking signs.
Damn.
Don't like your torch signs. And
no smoking, no vaping. Don't even think about heat.
Yeah. Think cold thoughts.
Yeah. So not that way. Perhaps we just sort of get to the bottom of the stairs, and I'll just start simply by just clearing my throat into the dark, just to
echolocation type situation.
Could also bring a gift or a not housewarming present. What is it called?
But like an offering.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like an offering.
Yeah.
What offering would you bring the master of the library?
Do we have anything papery? We have the map.
We do have the map. We're returning the map.
Could we say that we took the rest of the paper? Our nice, fine paper?
Yeah. You absolutely could. What I will say is the paper came from the library. So
returning lost and found.
So this is so there is a mechanic in the long road ahead that I'd love to showcase if we have the chance.
Please do.
And this is called a willing sacrifice. Again, this is a game of great journeys and great sacrifices. So on the moves etc. page in the character keeper, if you scroll down kind of to the bottom under other mechanics, you will find a willing sacrifice. And basically, tell me what it is you want to get done and what you're willing to give up to do it. And we'll kind of proceed from there. So, Mitchel, because you brought it up.
Oh, dang. Okay.
And you were told very specifically, like, oh, she's not gonna like you. Elias, you're not. She doesn't love you either. And Cam, it's a toss-up. What are you willing to sacrifice to make a good impression on the bookbinder?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. Normally, it would just be able to look... I would sacrifice, and this is very esoteric, I would sacrifice one of the abilities of bend reality.
Like a type of magic that you can't do anymore?
For how long?
For how long? Would it be for as long as we're here? No, that's not enough for what we're doing. I would say for as long as it will satisfy the bookbinder, which would probably be
however long
forever.
She demands.
Yeah, however long she demands.
Okay,
including it up to forever.
Yeah.
All right. I think the way I'm gonna run this then is I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So Elias, you clear your throat and make your presence known.
Yeah.
Nothing happens for a moment, and then so it's like the three of you standing. I'm assuming kind of like shoulder to shoulder or like fairly close to each other. There's a voice from right in your midst, like right in the center of the three of you. A young woman saying, "Can I help you, sirs?" And just out of nowhere, there is a rather short, like 5'2", short-haired young woman, maybe in her mid-20s, early 20s, short red hair, wearing a red robe with copper accents sewn through it, and like literally like metal, like copper thread. And she is holding a book under one arm, and like looking between the three of you, like oh yeah, of course you just got here. Like, what can I do for you? But her presence was like there was nobody there, and then there was.
Well, first I flinch.
Understandable.
oh my!
the GIF from was it from The Office where she's just standing next to all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Where'd you get here? Oh my god!
Exactly that. Dwight when
three
Angela
very
shows
jumpy dudes.
Yeah, Angela. Yeah. Well, I'll just say, good evening. We are looking for the bookbinder.
She looks at you and she smiles and says, "Oh, well, I have some fantastic news for you." And you see that the book she is holding is kind of like in the process of being repaired. And she says, "Do you have any books in need of care? That is my specialty."
No, we've not come for repair services. But we are looking for something. And we're hoping that you could lead us to
You would like to consult the catalog. Understandable. What can I do for you?
Remind me, like, the name of the thing we're looking for? Like, out of character.
You actually don't know that it has a name. You've just been told there's something in the library that might be able to unravel the lie of Zahir's immortality.
Okay. So I suppose I'll explain the situation then.
Okay.
And basically say, well, there's a very powerful and unscrupulous man who has lied, with a capital L,
Oh.
to make himself unkillable.
Oh.
And he, in turn, has killed a great many others. And we are seeking to end his conquest.
To unravel the magic around it.
That is a most egregious lie indeed. That is... I would say that it is not possible. Which means that you yourself may be lying. And Elias, I would like you to engage an entity, which is a basic move that rolls with Stout Heart. As you can feel the bookbinder peering into your soul to assess the truth of not just what you're saying, but who you are.
Okay. Unfortunately, I have good Stout Heart. I have a 2 with that. So, it's 8. That is a 10.
Fantastic. All right. So, you get to choose an effect, and you do not need to make a meaningful sacrifice. Emphasis on you, Elias.
Yes, I'm noticing the importance of you and they in these prompts. Would it be appropriate to invoke the entity will take one action of its choice against a foe of your choice? My foe being Zahir?
Absolutely. What would you ask of the book? Okay, so to play out, you see her like, unless you're lying, and then to the other two, less than a second passes, and she goes, no, you're not, you're fine. Elias, what you sense is like when you make eye contact with this woman, every lie you've ever told and every lie you've ever believed, like, you become painfully conscious of it. You don't just like feel guilty about it, you know exactly the harm that has come from these lies. And you feel it almost overwhelm you. But on a 10 plus, what you hear at the end of it is the bookbinder saying, but you're telling the truth now, and you are serving the truth now. And what we do now is what matters. Isn't it, Elias Xanatos?
I hope so.
That was the truest answer you could give. And she will say, you seek to oppose Zahir, who is called but is not the Undying. I will help you. She's first going to look at you, Cam, and say, but I will not help the one whom you serve.
You know my other task?
Oh, the question is, do you know your task? Do you know what it is you seek?
50-50.
Half of something is half of nothing. You would destroy Zahir and create a vacuum for a being just as worse to take his place. Jalil the Fair, even his name is a lie. That tastes like overcooked broccoli in my mouth when I say it. Elias, I know you. I have seen into you. You have done much harm. And you will do harm again. But I believe that you can be redeemed. And then she turns to you, look at you, Cam. And I think maybe this is the first time you two have heard his full name. Cadell Arthur Mace. You're not from around here, are you?
I am not.
You don't have to be so careful. Telling the truth is simple. It's far simpler than lying. What you may not know is that this land was shaped by the truth, and it is eroded by the lie. And whether you choose to shape or chip away is a choice you make every moment of every day. And you need to make a choice now, Cam. I'm sorry. I know that you are a man of principle and a man of honor, but you may need to break your word to serve the truth. And then she will turn at last to you, Elshadad. Elshadad Tegan, I know that you came from nothing. I know that you feel that you came from nowhere, but that's not true. You had a fate, you had a destiny. Maybe it wasn't a bright, gleaming, shining thing, but it was yours, and you threw it away. I don't know if I can trust you with this truth, Elshadad, because I don't think you know what the truth is. I don't think there's any of it left in you.
Would you say that he can't handle the truth?
Yeah, handle the truth.
Can't handle the truth.
You're right, I can't. Dang.
God, my one weakness.
She reaches out and puts a very small hand on your shoulder. Prove me wrong? And this is where the willing sacrifice, I think, is going to come in.
Yeah, this is going to be... He's going to take a very long moment, probably never actually meet her eyes, because on some level he's aware that she is correct. That he wanted for more and ended up cursing himself because of it. I know that if who and what I kill is the fate that I now have, and I'm willing to sacrifice more to ensure that Zahir will stop his aggression on others. If that means giving up my own ability to lie and harm, then I will.
You cannot tell the truth and a lie at the same time.
You ask I give up everything then?
I ask that you do the hard thing, Elshadad, because the truth isn't easy, but it will set you free. You traffic with the powers of the lie. You speak it, and you shape it with your hands. Today you have done it to protect your friends. Tomorrow you might use it to hurt others. And she looks at Elias. In fact, you did hurt others. Elshadad, will you promise in this temple to knowledge and truth and permanence that until Zahir the Undying's name has been unraveled, until he is shown to be no more and no less of a man than any other, will you swear to me that you will not use your magic? Will you not use the magic that you stole to harm another until Zahir is dead? So effectively, will you cross out the ability to deal to harm with your magic for the rest of this quest?
He's gonna be very quiet for a long, long time, contemplating between the Nur, this entity, the cursed blade on his hip.
She's gotta be stuck with regular old swords like the rest of us.
Now I gotta be a lameoid. Dang.
Just a big old normie.
I think you can feel Nur also like shaking, like curled around your brainstem, saying, "Don't do it, buddy. Don't do it. Whatever she wants to give you, I can give you more. You want to kill this son of a bitch? I can tell you how to kill him. Oh, you want to cause destruction? Oh, I can burn everything. We could kill everybody. All you have to do is not give this little pipsqueak the satisfaction of being right for once. Don't do it, man. I'm telling you. Don't do it."
I could continue to lie, but I promise I will give up this ability. I need to.
Idiot! And at the exact same time, the bookbinder says, "You poor thing." And she takes her hand away, and when she does, you can feel part of the magic that you stole leaving you, but it doesn't feel like you lost anything. It feels like you made room for something else. Now, Mitchel, you get to pick two options from a willing sacrifice. So they're organized into two groups. So you can pick one and then the other.
We're not doing experience. We'll do one fellowship for everybody.
Nice. Okay.
And we'll do Your sacrifice overcomes a major obstacle facing the party.
All right. So, just real quick for the purposes of showing off what it does.
Yeah.
So, Fellowship is a resource that you can spend on your rolls or other people's to bump up the roll's success category, basically. So you spend Fellowship to turn a miss into a 7 to 9, or a 7 to 9 into a miss. It's kind of the way we intended it to be. Is you're helping each other out through an act of fellowship of some kind, and there's lots of ways to interpret that. But I like that because the other two haven't been sure if they can trust you, and if they really belong here with you or you belong here with them. I like the interpretation that you making that promise actually sets them at ease a little bit and makes you all into more of a party of wanderers. And of course,
nothing to help you trust your strange friends, like having a mind reader tear you open in front of each other.
Yeah, well, you know.
It's a trust building exercise. It's fine.
Yeah.
And the way that she helps you overcome a major obstacle facing the party is she looks down at the book that she's been holding the whole time and says, "It's funny. Sometimes the truth is right there all along." And she hands you a book, and the title is literally How to Kill Zahir the Undying, a treatise in 3 parts. And
We got some homework to do.
and I think that is where we will close our adventure for the evening.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Epic music, camera pulls way out.
Inevitably, it cuts to
book,
Zahir, like, realizing that someone, has the knowledge to kill him and, sending,
I sense a disturbance.
yeah.
No.
He sends, he sends the assassin apprentice who was studying under
Right,
you,
yeah,
Elias,
my old
after the
apprentice. He
party.
sends, yeah.
Yeah.
He's having dinner and he's cutting something and he nicks his finger and he's like,
yeah.
it's just shaking.
It's begun.
That's not supposed to happen.
I'm bleeding.
But
yeah,
those are all
that
adventures
was
for another day.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for creating and running that game.
It was my pleasure.
It was a real joy. I've dabbled with a handful of other Powered by the Apocalypse games before, and that is definitely very high on the list of them.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say to that, because I know how good the competition is, but that's fantastic. Thank you.
No slouches, but excellent stuff. I love how the classes are character archetypes and not how do I kill people.
Yeah, something that Lex and I set out to do with each playbook is going on a journey itself. The one who turns from shadow is on a journey towards redemption. The loyal soldier is on a journey towards becoming their own person instead of serving another. The one who bears the curse is looking for redemption of a different kind. So that was something we very intentionally and consciously built into the playbooks. And I'm glad that comes through.
Brian, Mitch, anything to add? Anything to compliment? Anything to not compliment?
I mean, that's a really I really haven't done Power of the Apocalypse or Powered by the Apocalypse games, so it's really fun to play one that is very, very narrative focused, very narrative heavy. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun trying to figuring out unique ways to interpret certain things and being creative and narrative in it.
Yeah.
In the expression of those things.
Yeah, it's a well-designed game in general, but I think especially for Powered by the Apocalypse, the trick with the moves is people always know what each move does, but there should be room to do something completely unexpected with it. And you guys did. You threw stuff at me that I've run probably, a dozen and a half play tests of this game, and stuff happened in this game that I've never seen before. So, and that's on y'all as players for sure.
Yeah, I've always been partial to more of the not that this is a simple game, but like how there's less stuff going on that you have to remember. You got all these, stats you got to remember. You have all these weapons, and there's just like so much stuff going on all the time. I like the simpler approach where you can talk through most of the stuff and be creative. I feel like
Yeah.
the less you have going on that you have to remember, the more you can yourself be creative and kind of carve your own path, and that makes every game, you know even more special and different than a game that is more complex with the deeper, sets of rules and whatnot that you have to adhere to. There is more freedom and liberty to just create and go off on a limb, and
Yeah.
does this type of thing work, and you're like, yeah, actually, let's see how we can make that work. I love that kind of thing. I strive of,
Yeah.
that's my jam.
No,
So
I'm so
I'm here
glad to
for
hear
it.
that. Before
yeah.
before before we finished the long road ahead, I can't speak for Lex, but I thought that like a good game, the rules got out of the player's way and let them do, whatever it was they wanted. And I kind of don't believe that anymore. I think a good game doesn't get out of your way. A good game shows you the way.
Yes.
It doesn't, it's
No,
not a
you're
roadblock.
100%. I hear that online all the time, that, the rules get out of your way. It's like, no. If
Yeah.
the rules got out of our way completely, we would just be doing improv.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
we
And
want
then,
to play a game. We want something a little different than just doing improv. So we want some kind of,
Give me some guidelines,
Right.
please.
Exactly.
and it's finding that balancing act that I think you've done a good job of here.
Thank
So
General roadmap to the long
yeah.
road ahead.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a good way to put
I
it.
was trying to avoid a road metaphor, and there you go.
so as we start to wrap up here, a couple things. Alan, tell the people where they can get the game.
All right, so you can go to unicyclegames.com, and there will be links to our store pages on DriveThruRPG and also itch.io, assuming that Funko Pop has not nuked it again by the time you hear this recording. God willing and the creek don't rise. That hasn't happened. But and it is a pay what you want game, and I like telling people, if what you want or what you can afford is zero, that is okay. We just want people to try this game out, play it with their friends. Right now, it is only available as a digital PDF, but we are very, very close to finalizing the print edition. The print edition will have a couple of slight tweaks to not necessarily the rules, but the language. It'll have even more illustrations in it, and it'll just in general be a better laid out book and a better product. So that is coming soon. But if you want to play it right now, head to itch or DriveThruRPG, pay us $0 money if you like, and drop it in your games folder, and
Everybody
call your
give them
friends
$1
over and
million,
have a good time.
please.
Yeah.
Just all at once. Everybody who buys it, $1 million.
$1 million. And then last thing before we go, Mitch, thank you for being here tonight. Plug your Twitch.
Hey, you guys can find me on Twitch on Raptor Blue. We do a lot of community gaming. We do Black American and African American history. We do, sometimes we like to have fun and laugh at people on the internet, as long as they are all terrible people, and we are significantly better than them. We do a lot of community building. I am a community inclusion specialist, so that is a lot of what my job is. So I try to find a good combination of things.
Yeah, there we go. Follow Mitch. Either get much smarter or much dumber, depending on the day you roll in there.
Regardless, you'll have a good time when you show up.
Yeah, it'll be fun either way. And of course, again, thanks to Alan, thanks to your team at Unicycle for the great game. And thanks everybody for watching. As always, we like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you like about the game, share the video, helps us out, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Safe travels.